My name is Sheila and I'm from the UK and I've been in Jeddah for nearly 5 years. I came here with my husband and family and my husband's job obviously. We try to keep our expectations open because of course you read and you see a lot of things in the press, and we knew that there was going to be a different discovery for us. So every day's been very different, and it's lovely to be able to say that, you know, the discovery is really, really fun. My first impressions, how hot and humid. We arrived late at night, and I remember the doors opening from the plane, and as it opened, this hot, humid air hit us, and I just went, whoa, it stopped us in our tracks. And I think it happened to be one of the hottest days at that time. We didn't know that. And we arrived at dark, so of course we got back to the villa in the night time, and then the next morning, bright blue skies, swimming, and we just went from there. It was great. Life has changed an awful lot in 5 years. Our experiences, for example, when I first arrived, I couldn't drive here. Ladies being able to drive gives more freedom. Everything is changing, everything from what people wear, what people do, and the rate of change is massive. It is absolutely massive. And it's an exciting time to be here. The key to adapting to a new country is to keep an open mind. And if you're invited to do something, go. If you don't want to do it again, you don't have to. But if you turn down invitations, you won't get invited again. Try lots of different things. Step out of your comfort zone. Look left and right and find out, and really search for what is there in the environment you're living in. My husband and I both come from a country environment, so we love the wide open spaces. We've always camped, and the more we then travel within country, we become more confident, and we're both very experienced at that. We're drivers over lots of different of lands and off-roading, etc. So that's the sort of thing that we really enjoy doing, discovering. And we both love the history. I grew up in a very, very old farmhouse in the UK, over 500 years old. So I love old buildings and the stories. There are so many different stories of the buildings here. People have travelled through here for many, many years. So at the beginning then, when I was taking photographs, I sent photographs to my friends and they said, why don't you share these photographs? And I said, well, you know. But eventually I was persuaded to start an Instagram account without people really knowing who it was, because people wanted to see what I see. So I try to tell people, imagine coming on a journey with me. You're on my shoulder and I'll show you and I'll take you and see the experiences, the journey through it, the raw, the authentic, the real. And it's grown from there, and it really has grown legs. I've been invited to do lots of things with lots of people, and people seem to like the raw Saudi Arabia, the true Saudi Arabia, because it's amazing what there is out there. Saudi Travel Notes started with a friend asking me to share the photographs, because I was sharing them with her, and she said that lots of people would be interested in the travels, etc. So I started it. It was very small to start with, and I wanted to show people what I saw. That's the important thing. And it's grown and grown from there. And more recently, I've done what I call talkies, so I'll be filming something and then talking about what I see, because there's so much knowledge to be able to pass on about the history, the culture, and what I see, and people seem to like that. Saudi Travel Notes on Instagram, and it's, as I said, it's grown. Lots of people follow me. There's lots of people from within the kingdom here and around the country, well, around the world. And I got lots of people asking me to show the actual raw side of things of Saudi Arabia, and that's what I love. I have a marketing degree and I'm a trained garden designer, so as a result then I like things to look nice and I spot things. So yes, and I really enjoy doing it and sharing that knowledge and sharing the journeys and sharing the experiences I have, even the little details. The sort of questions I get, people want to know how did I get there? How did I find it? So I'll tell them maybe I've seen some information on something, or it may be something simple that I'm going on a journey, and then we look very detailed on a map and I'll see something interesting. I love the old trade routes, the old inset trade routes. I love the Hajj routes. There's a lot of old castles, there's a lot of old buildings. There's Neolithic, Bronze Age buildings as well, and stone structures and things. There's a wealth of things. The layers of history in this country are phenomenal. I'm based in Jeddah, so we know the western side of Saudi Arabia very well. I've driven many times from Neom up in the north and the Gulf of Aqaba all the way down to Jizan and Farzan. Living near the sea is wonderful. When we're in Jeddah, I go to the Corniche, etc. I love diving and I love being in the sea. The sea is wonderful. But apart from that as well, you're in reach of the mountains, with the deserts. There's so many different areas there. Normally takes about 2 hours to get anywhere from Jeddah. Once you're out of the city, there's a wealth of different things in different directions. But of course, Jeddah itself has lots of lovely things too. There's been a lot of events in the country since it's become open. I went to the Jeddah season in 2019. There were lots of events there. And then obviously with COVID around the world, things quietened down. I've been to the F1 both times. I've been to a couple of concerts. And I'm looking forward to Jeddah season coming back soon, hopefully. Whenever anything happens, we always look out for it and be something which is appropriate to go to. So why wouldn't you? I mean, you know, open your mind. If you get the chance to do something, do it. It's great. During my free time, I love sport, I love diving, I scuba dive and I free dive. I learnt to free dive with my son. He's amazing, he's like a fish in the water. I play hockey, I run, I love lots of sport, very fit. But apart from that then, we love going out on the weekends. In the winter months, we travel, we camp, we sleep under the stars. No tent, under the stars. Being able to lie back and feel the ground under you and then looking up at the stars. There's nothing like it. You can feel them. You feel like you want to touch them. It's incredible. And one of my big passions are the roses. When I first came to Saudi, I didn't realise that we had this magnificent rose season. So for 2 months of the year, damask roses, they flower, pink roses, and they farm them in many, many farms. I think there's about 1,000 farms here up in Taif in 3 different regions. They harvest them first thing in the morning, always early in the morning. You have to pick the open blooms. So the big rose bushes, and they have lots and lots of flowers. And we pick them, and then they're put into a big copper kettle and distilled. So what happens is they put the water in the top, and then the heat from below heats them up. The steam rises into the top, and then that goes through a little tube where it condenses. And when it condenses, the rose oil and the rose water comes through the other side. And when it comes to the side, there's a tiny, tiny little bit that comes through with the rose oil. It's very precious. The smell is amazing. The pure rose oil, there's nothing like it in the world. So these roses are picked early in the morning, not later in the day, otherwise the rose oils diminish for about 2 months of the year. The countryside in the Taif Mountains are pink. People have never imagined that. Rows and rows of pink roses. They're really, really wonderful. And lots of people come up and travel up, always early in the morning, and then have the traditional breakfast with malla. So malla, it's a little bit of a cross between a cake and a bread, served with honey and ghee, and it's delicious. I must admit, I first saw it and I wasn't quite sure. I thought, okay, but I'm always good to try things. And it's one of my favourites. And I always say, if you come to Taif, you must try mulla. It's really, really delicious. And then, of course, Taif, we've got the wonderful museums. Ali Sharif Museum, they're wonderful things to have a look around. You can either just whiz around, just going, oh, like that. But you know what? Every time you visit, you find something new. There's always something different to see. And it's lovely to see the colours laid out beautifully, so you can learn lots. And it's a voyage of discovery for the eyes and for the heart to be able to learn about these areas. Always something great to do up here. And then, of course, in Taif as well, I always loved Al Hada, the fruit market. So on the way out, before the big zigzag wiggly road, all the fruit and veg and the chai adani tea is one of my favourites too. So that's one thing again to try. You can find it down in Balad as well, in lots of places. In fact, I think I've had it in Riyadh as well, chai adani. So it's like a spiced tea with milk. So always a good thing to try. My social circle is very varied because we have children at the school. That's obviously one way, but through sports, through Instagram, through travel. I've also done some courses, Islamic art. I've learnt Arabic as well. Learning Arabic when I first arrived, learning to read and write Arabic, very, very useful. So you can read signs, etc. And also learning to converse. If you come to move to a country, learn a little bit about it, learn about the culture and be able to learn the language. It's always a good thing to do. And then, of course, when I'm writing on Saudi travel notes on my Instagram account, I quite often put a little bit of Arabic because, of course, it widens the breadth, and also to show that, I know a little bit about it. So to try my best. I don't always get it right, but I do try. You do try it. In Saudi Arabia, my Saudi friends are very varied. I know people from wherever I've travelled, whether it be up in Tabuk or down in Abha or Farazan. Whenever we've met anybody, we've got to know each other. They're all very different, all very welcoming. But the Saudi people it takes a little bit of time sometimes, which is how it should be. We get to know each other. The people in Taif are very different to people in Jeddah. Depends on the environment that you meet them, as you would do in any other country. But generally very, very welcoming. I come from an old farming family in Wales, and it was always, if anybody came there, we'd always welcome them. And they'd always come and have food and share the food. I think that's why I feel so comfortable whenever I go somewhere and you meet people and you can sit and share the food. That is something which is very special here. And it's known around the world. That is something that Saudi Arabia is famous for, is welcome. The culture in Saudi and the culture in the United Kingdom, where I'm from, there are lots of similarities with family, especially with my experience with family at home, and looking after that and developing and wanting to respect the culture and the traditions. But of course, as anywhere, they're all moving fast, very, very fast moving, but it's important to remember those. And it's lovely, the fact that the relationship between people in the UK and people in Saudi, it's strong, and people always say, I've been there, have you been there, etc. So it's lovely to be able to compare notes for both countries. And as I said, and people say, I want to go to where you're from, and they say, when you come to my village, I'll come and show you more of these, and we know you like seeing all the sort of traditional things. That's what it's about. The culture, that's what makes us, isn't it? Saudi food is lovely, really delicious. My favourite has to be kibda, and that's a big surprise because back in the UK I wouldn't tend to eat liver, but fresh kibda cooked freshly in front of you here with the spices and herbs and the chilies, etc. is really, really delicious. I love kabsa. I make that myself. I make that for a lot of friends. So I've learned to do that. There's lots of other foods, whether it be the Yemeni foods, which are delicious, and the different types of breads, or more foods maybe from the Levant area. You know, when someone says, do you know mourkher? Yes, I know mourkher, and I've tried mourkher, and I can make mourkher. So there's lots of things like that. Again, I always try something once. And there's not many things that I wouldn't try again and I wouldn't eat again. And that's what's lovely, you know, trying these different things. But I try and learn how to make them, because of course, being able to take those things with you and keep that knowledge with you, that's my next challenge. I'll be trying to do a little bit more of that soon. Most memorable coffee I think I've drunk so far has to be down in Jazan, in Al Raithi, with Faisal Al Raithi. Amazing. So going up the mountain, going to the farm there, seeing how the coffee's grown, and then he actually ground some coffee and then made it. So pure, simple coffee with just hot water. Simple coffee. Smooth, delicious, the best coffee. If someone says they don't know coffee grows in Saudi Arabia, they should try it from Jazan. Actually grown here in Saudi Arabia. There's nothing like it. It's so smooth, delicious. Being away from family in the UK can be hard, but we're very lucky with modern communications, being able to message, send photographs on a very regular basis. And I think if you get into a routine like that, it takes it away. So you can, in some respects, sometimes people share more when you've got a little bit more distance because you make more of an effort. But also then having family to come out and stay and take them around and show them these amazing places. And the problem is there's never enough time to be able to take loved ones or friends and family to be able to go and see these things. You have to literally work out, well, which ones out of all the things we could do. You have to learn how to live here. You just have to find your way and then visit, and you either go back and visit and then they come and see us. So, and find your own way. But you know, it's doable, it really is. My most memorable experience, Wadi al-Ajab during Ramadan last year, because obviously during the daytime things are very quiet. Having Wadi al-Ajab to ourselves for hours and hours and hours, that was just like heavenly. It was amazing. Flying in the microlight with the Saudi guys, it's great. The whole experience, be able to see things from above and seeing the variation. You know, I can come up into the mountains, you know, go up 2,000 metres up high and then go back down and be on the Red Sea. So I can't pinpoint one thing. That's a difficult thing. The one thing I've learnt being living in Saudi is to be flexible. Very seldom do things always go to plan. There's always something else that changes, sometimes maybe go wrong, but sometimes things don't happen for a reason, and then if you can't do one thing, you'll end up doing something else. So, you know, the saying is, "Ma fi mushkila." It doesn't matter. You have to have a bit of thick skin and go, okay, because things will take a long time. You know, when we first arrived, you know, prayer times would happen, and that was a bit of a shocker. You know, things were close, so you couldn't do that. So you just have to organise your time. So all of it is doable. So, but be flexible. Things, you know, think out of the box. I think that's the big message I would send to anybody. The best thing is all of it together, and being able to share a lot of that with my family and friends. So my friends back in the UK, I always say, have a look at the photographs. Most of my friends follow Saudi travel notes anyway, so it's quite easy, so they can see the breadth of things. They also very often say, what else happens in the background? What haven't you posted? Where else should we go? Where are the places you should go? My advice to any of the friends back there, if you're going to come here, would be things like, come during the winter months, because there's more flexibility. It gets incredibly hot in Riyadh in the summer and in Jeddah and humid. So plan your time, because it does get the extremes. And they say, how do you manage? You say, because we have AC, we manage it. It becomes normal. All the things that seem strange to people in another country, it's amazing how it becomes normalised. My message to anybody is to experience Saudi Arabia for yourselves. Come and experience the desert, the mountains, the people, the culture. It's all very different, and I'm sure that you'll find new things here. It's a wide open, big country with so many different things to discover. I love it. It's great to be able to do that. Come and do it yourself.